Hey guys, it's Kitty Sapphire here. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody is doing well. This is another video of Speedpaint and my Heart to Heart series. It seems that on my Patreon page, it looks like you guys are really interested in this little series of mine, or this little experiment that I'm doing with the audio and trying to do something a little different than just the usual stuff that I post up on my YouTube channel. And I put out a poll not too long ago of what is the next topic you guys want me to talk about. And from the looks of it, passion and love was the choices for this video's conversation regarding my art journey and how passion and love apply in those respects. And I'm here to talk about it. I'm really excited about this. This is something that I feel has been a little lost over the past few years regarding the artist community and just supporting each other as an art, and just drive and motive of an artist has changed over time, and not necessarily for the healthier aspects. So we're going to talk about this. So first off, I want to say thank you so much for all those who participated in the poll on Patreon. If you guys want to participate in the next poll, I will be having another one probably after this video with fresh new topics. You guys can enter into my Patreon page. There will be a link at the bottom of the video in my bio, and you can vote in what particular topic that you really want for me to talk about, or you taking an interest in, and yeah, we can will be in the next video. Also, thank you again for those who have donated. You guys basically keep this small little indie freelance artist dream alive as an illustrator and making my own series. It means so much. And of course, for all those who are newcomers or want to be newcomers, my Patreon page and my Ko-Fi are basically donated run pages. You can put simply $1, because I know for a fact a lot of things are going on, so it's kind of rough. But with a single dollar, you can become easily a member. You have access to polls, comments of various free pictures that I do post up from some of these wonderful videos, as well as some of the commissions that I have done over the years, as well as a shout out after several of these speedrun videos. There will be a list of all the people that have participated and donated to, and if you guys want, I can change it up as well as do actual full-on shout outs of each of the person's name to give credit to keeping this particular channel and this dream alive on my part. You have no idea how much you guys mean to me, and it just means a lot that you guys really like my work and wished for me to continue as a freelance artist. So moving away from all the promo and self promotion and sort of like commercial break, we are going to talk about love and passion in art. And this is more of a rambling, so this is going into my personal thoughts about how important passion and love is in the art community, and just in my art personally, as I go on this journey to improve on my art and just enjoy the space and just the all-around environment of art, because it's not easy, and you're going to run into quite a few roadblocks. You're going to run into things that will impede on you from time to time. There's going to be times where you have self-doubt, and really love and passion plays a huge part in art. Now, one of the things that I hear about from various other artists is the motivation and desire, which falls under the love and passion bracket of artistry, is what moves them to do art. Because art is not a very easy skill set. A lot of people chalk it off to talent and gift. It's also, you might have a knack for it. Yeah, you might have a starting point that you're really good at, but really that pushes through is passion and love for the craft. Because you can have a knack for something that in the very beginning you're really good at. Like, before I actually did art, I was into sports. Specifically, well, there was several sports that I was into. I used to play basketball for quite some time, for quite some time years ago. And even though I was really good at it, I was a very good center. I did it not, I mean, I loved it, but I was not in love with it. Not as much as I was in love with art. And there was a lot more, I feel, more foundations or foundational love for art versus when I was playing basketball. Because basketball was really the love of my father. My father really loved basketball, and still to this very day he loves basketball so much. But I liked basketball. I didn't have the drive and passion that my father did. I had that in my artwork. I think a large amount of that is art kind of saved my life, especially during a very dark point in my life. Especially when I was discovering my interests, such as anime and cartoons and stuff like that. And I think this is a common story for any nerd, geeks, or any person who's part of a particular fandom and has a hyperfixation or a deep love for that particular fandom. You can probably know where I'm going with this. Is the canon event is always being picked on, it seems. It seems like we run into that problem with our peers of being teased, being hurt, embarrassed, guilt-tripped out of our passions. And because of that, because of my lack of friends and being teased for liking anime and stuff like that, or Speed Racer when I was a child, or really into Disney shows like Disney, like I was a huge fan of The Little Mermaid. Ursula was my favorite character when I was a child. Yeah, I never really liked I mean, I did like the Disney princess. Ariel was really pretty and cool, but Ursula looks so unique and different. But I'm getting into a small tangent. But being obsessed with cartoons and mainly anime as I got older, especially back in the 1990s, you got teased for that. I mean, you get teased for it now still, but it's a different brand of teasing. And because I didn't have any friends and I let my imagination run wild, I sort of created my own friends through my artwork and wanted to be loved and cherished. And not saying that my family and my later friends didn't do that. Of course they did. But when I was really young, so grade school, I really didn't have too many friends or people to be called friends because of my specific niche interests and the fact that I wasn't into dolls, I wasn't into fashion or anything. I was into sports and anime and video games and comic books, which was always associated with a boy thing. So, and especially I had strong ties with the geek community because also, despite the fact that my father was heavily into basketball, both of my parents are pretty much geeks. They were also into a specific fandom, but back then it would be like Star Trek and your Star Wars and Xena Warrior Princess and Hercules. a lot of people possibly might not know what those were. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. But a lot of the times that I bond with people that I love throughout my life is through art, through anime, through comic books and stuff like that. Me and him got really close because my father would read me comics before bed, mainly the Thor comics, and my mom would read me fairy tales. But also my father would draw with me. He would draw Spider-Man, he would draw Thor, he would try to emulate the Jack Kirby style of artwork. And then my cousins, who introduced me to fighting games and Dragon Ball Z and Final Fantasy VII for the first time on the PlayStation, because they had like a Sega Genesis, and at that time I didn't have a PlayStation, I had a Nintendo 64. But my cousins drew, and they drew stuff that was Dragon Ball Z oriented. They had characters and OCs of their own, and then they had characters they looked like Spider-Man and what have you. And I wanted to do that. I was in love, and me and my cousins wanted to be, my cousins wanted to be game developers, and I wanted to do comics. I wanted to do manga. And I guess you could say, because of the foundation of all the happiness that I got was from a huge whirlwind mixture of creativity, imagination, artwork, geeking out with my family, and then that later turned into friends later on down the road. So that's where my love started from. It was because of my parents letting me be who I was, and sort of nurtured that. And it's so important to nurture those things, because it gives children the chance to learn to be themselves, problem solving, how to look at this world in a very different light. And what I would have to say, what makes this world so wonderful, it's very colorful. It's very colorful, has a lot of values in it, has a lot of brightness as well as dark colors to it, which makes it a very vibrant and beautiful place. And that contributes to how I see the world as an artist, how I relate to the world as an artist as well. And I feel that's very important. Now, we talk about all the foundation and the fuzzy stuff and the fuzzy feelings of attachment to artistry and how it can help with development in the sense of curiosity and problem solving and different perspectives of the world. But what does that have to do with art in the long run? Now, I've heard a lot of artists that have goals just like me. I have a goal to make my own series, my own manga series, my own comic book series of sorts, a graphic novel, if you will. It's very slow because it's only me. But now, as I get older, and start to converse with other artists, I learn from a lot of people in our community. But when you have a drive and passion for something, you're willing to push the boundaries of things. You start asking questions of things. Now, love is not... Excuse me, I am so sorry. Now, people have a miscommunication of what love is for something or for something or someone. Is you constantly see nothing but good things in this craft, in this artisan task that you have, your calling, the person that you like, and it's just ongoing praise and positive. No, it's not like that. You have to also acknowledge that there are a lot of tough parts, which is like I'm going back to the other subject regarding other artists. It's very, other artists have mentioned, including myself, from other people that I've talked to or talked with, my other personal experiences, that it's stressful. It could be stressful. You have to self-manage yourself. It's not like your regular 9-to-5 job. You can be sucked into your craft and go all hours of the day and night working on your craft, trying to perfect your craft. And that can take a toll on you physically, mentally, emotionally, be extremely exhausted, which is not necessarily a very good thing. Also, another thing is self-doubt. This craft will test you on numerous occasions of self-doubt that you might see one of your peers, one of your fellow artists, that on the outside looking in, you might think that they're ahead of you because there's certain things that you want to do and you try to emulate that, but you're just not getting it right. Or they're living the dream, or what you think is the dream of success, and they're living it and you're not, and you become a little bit envious of that. There will be many times that art will test you, but what's the love aspect of this particular craft is it gives you a sense of reflection of, why am I doing this? Instead of just chasing and basically admiring people and being somewhat envious of people, love for the craft gives you a possible different perspective on your craft and your calling as an artist. You will at times might think or ask yourself, why did I really start doing art in the first place? For me, as an artist, I started because this was a aspect of my childhood that I didn't want to let go. I felt it was very freeing, and it also recalled a lot of those wonderful warm memories that I had with my father, with my cousins, with my mother. Unfortunately, my mom doesn't draw, but the fictitious, the fantasy, the fanciful, the outlandish, the ridiculous, the whimsy, the nonsensical way your mind can bend and change and shift and have a different viewpoint of the world. It's quite fascinating, actually, and it's quite fun as well. So my art and love for the art comes from that particular place again. And also brings me a sense of perspective when my doubts start kicking in, and it's an ongoing fight. So don't think that, doubt and stress of where you are as an artist just is a one-shot deal and it goes away. It's not. It's a continuous fight. But the thing is, if you truly are passionate about your love for the arts, love what you're doing, you acknowledge those problems, but you don't let that stop you from doing what you love the most about this craft. That you understand that this is there are negative components to it, but you try to improve each time. You try to improve that, hey, okay, I feel crummy because I feel very doubtful about my capabilities. Take a break from it, or there are times where you have to push through. You might have to ground your feet and push through those unfortunately insecure feelings, those negative emotions, and push through. And you definitely can, to get to the other side, to show how much growth that you have accrued and accumulated over time. It's very refreshing when you push through some of those naysayers that might be in your head. And also that love can also manifest in the same way as the inner child. There was a YouTube video that I saw a while back that was basically talking about the doubts, which are basically the critiques that you might hear throughout your life. But the inner child, your love for the craft, can always override it because of how it is the foundation. It's your start. It doesn't look at the world or your art in those rule eccentric lines like we do when we become adults. When we become adults, we learn about things, but we are so concrete on those particular rules of, A plus B equals C. No, with the inner child or the inner love for your craft, it's a little different. It lends a very more flexible and resilient viewpoint on your art. And also, this could also help with burnout as well. If you have a deep love and passion for your craft, it gives you not only a different perspective of it, but it can give you some catharsis on a lot of the other feelings that you have. So, like, if you're having a bad day, or you have these feelings that you can't describe. Like, I've heard some people that want to get into art because there are some feelings within them that they can't fully describe. And that's one way to basically express yourself. Art is all about that. It's all about self-expression. And love for self-expression is very important. But going back to what I was saying before, art can help you manage some of your emotions. Not all, but quite a few of them. And it doesn't even have to be structural. Like, everybody thinks that, oh, art has to have a meaning, have a point. It has to be these particular type of rules. Yes, sure, you need the fundamentals to get a much more better way of maybe expanding upon your expression, but it doesn't have to be the full-on rule, especially if you're not required to those particular types of rules for a job. If you're going for an animation job, if you're going for manga, or there's this particular studio that you're looking to work for, sure, yes, learning the fundamentals are extremely important. But if you're just doing it for fun and trying various different things, experimenting and all that, go at it. Just have a good time. And of course, even in studios, they have a little bit of room for that, but it can be a little bit more challenging because there might be, unfortunately, working with other peers that might have a certain type of vision, or you're not working on your own personal vision, you're working on somebody else's. So, but the foundation of a lot of art, especially pushing through those dark times, I would have to say, at least for me, love has played a huge part in it. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And to this very day, it's a bit of a struggle, For example, I like to travel to various different conventions and showcase my art and sell my art. And there are many times where my particular art that I'm working on doesn't come out the way I would like it to. It's not the right shape. It doesn't look to what my mind is. Oh, and by the way, love can also help you with that. Your passion for the arts. When it comes to perfectionism, it can be a double-edged sword, to be completely honest. Now that I come to think about it, it could be a double-edged sword because you can be passionate about something, but also learning how to make concessions and say, hey, this is as best as I can do. I'll come back and do something similar to this and show the progression of what your mindset was back then and then what your mindset is currently or in the future, whichever you prefer. But yeah, it's, for me, the love for my craft, the love of expressing, the love of making worlds and telling stories and make fabulous characters that I could only dream of when I was a child, is very important to me. And I still aim to accomplish that with several other stories. I'm actually also expanding into writing as well. I have like a small story thus far on my AO3 channel, stuff like that. But like definitely having that passion does push you in the long for the long haul. So like, for instance, a lot of I guess you could say this does fall in the category of burnout and stuff like that. If you're the type of person who does not necessarily you have to acknowledge these things. Again, everybody's art journey is different. Everybody's experience is different. They might be going in there for one reason or another, but it's very difficult to go into the art field and go there just for a paycheck, because then you might as well be putting on to a 9 to 5. And I can tell you right now, it is very difficult to get funding for a lot of these animations, these comics and stuff like that. And a lot of mangaka and anime artists, especially in Japan, I've heard several interviews that they don't do this because there's a lot of money in it. There's not. A lot of the money that is accumulated often goes to the studios or the higher ups. But as far as the animations are concerned, it is a labor of love. And I can completely relate to that wholeheartedly, because a lot of the stuff that I do hours on end is a labor of love. It's a huge labor of love. Now, would I like to do a studio? I would like to go there for the experience, to know how to manage a studio or know how to work in a studio, so in the long run when I open my own studio, I know how it's supposed to function and what have you. And that, again, that's another love. I have a deep love for what I do as an artist. And also, along with that love, you can make tons and tons of friends. When you have a community such as the art community. Now, this is something that I discovered just recently because of the fact that I think everybody has heard of either the starving artist or the solitude artist. These are two things that are basically artistic myths that one should suffer for their art. That means being ridiculously poor, but they suffer, or they relinquish their well-being, their physical well-being, their mental and emotional well-being in order to complete or showcase a decent amount of art, when actually in reality that is not the case. That is not the case. Art should not require that type of... It doesn't require something like that. It's a terrible myth, but it doesn't require something like that. If you are exhausted mentally, emotionally, physically, take a break. If having love for yourself and understanding that taking breaks are very, very important, because also if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to continue your journey as an artist. That's constantly, at least for me, I tell myself from time to time why it's so important to take care of yourself. That's why eating right, getting time to exercise a little bit, and taking extensive breaks after sitting in front of the computer for a long, long amount of time is so important. As far as the other myth that, what is it? I said suffering for your art and, oh, right, the solitary artist. My apologies. The solitary artist. We, as an art community, or those who have come up or seen the artist, feel that in order for you to achieve greatness, a lot of cases it's done on your own. It's through your own ingenuity, your own experimentation, etc. Actually, in reality, that is completely untrue. It's a lot more prevalent now than ever. When you go to art school and you present a particular picture to your professor, or you're basically being judged by your peers. No, you're not doing it by your own ingenuity. Heck, even the greats never did it on their own. Such as like one of the biggest team, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. They did a lot of their best work together as a team. Even though I know there was some bumpy roads here and there where, Jack Kirby went to DC in some cases and what have you, but a lot of the heroes that we know and love are done with a group effort, with various fabulous writers, several artists, people with various ideas. Heck, even some of the references and inspirations that we might have come from somewhere else. So yeah, that aspect of love and understanding the history of it and understanding that these ideas are mythology or myths, they're not actually real, that you take a step back and say, maybe it's a good idea I should get some advice for some of the art that I've done, to see if maybe I've been working on this maybe a little itty bitty too long. Maybe this gives me a chance to try something else. Those are the things that your passion and drive will later teach you in the long run, versus somebody who is only looking for the end result of artistry and only looking to get a paycheck in a lot of cases, because they will not get that far, because art is such a sort of like a living, breathing, soulful thing, that something that is very superficial, such as money and getting just an end result for admiration, is only very surface level. If you want to make something especially great that lasts for generations, that gives a huge impact, it never comes from a place of sure shallowness. It comes from a place of passion and love for their craft, for their community, and for the stories they wish to tell. And yeah. So that is pretty much my 2 cents on love. I want to say thank you guys again for sitting in and listening to me ramble off about this wonderful subject. I will have hopefully this video up very, very soon, but hopefully I will have a new poll with new subjects. If you guys want to take a look at those subjects again, my Patreon will be in the description below. If there are some subjects you want me to talk about in the next video, you can also place them at the bottom in the comment section. I would love to hear you guys so much give your 2 cents about the subject. Also, what other things in the art community that you would like me to talk about. It could be anything at all from but we're going to keep it very, very civil, please. I like to have a bit of peace and open conversation, but not to a point where can be very hostile. So please, if you're gonna do a subject matter, pick one that we can have an open conversation with without throwing tomatoes at each other, please. I really appreciate it. So thank you guys again, and I will hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.